Mohr here, and welcome to a new movie review. Since August is the month of vacations, it's time to look at the vacation of one family. As it's time to look back at some more Alpha and Omega, and after 3 years of not reviewing them, there are now 8 of these films, with the remaining 3 not to have Richard Rich as producer or director. But let's see if this next one is any good or bad, for it's the 5th installment in the series known as Alpha and Omega, Family Vacation. Kate and Humphrey, with their 3 kids, Claudette, Stinky, and Rent, go on a family vacation to Alfred Creek Falls, as the kids wanted to bring their friends along, but Kate and Humphrey refuse. Yet along their way, the family were told that the wolf trappers were about, and wanted to relocate the wolves to the other side of Jasper Park. So the wolf family, along with the help of Patty, Marcel, and the wolf cub's friends, tried to get to the falls in another direction without being caught by the trappers. All while intersected within are flashbacks from the first and third film, when the family reminisced those times. And that's one of the biggest problems with this film. There are a few other bad things about it, but let's look over the major one. The flashbacks in this happen way too often, and it's only from the first and third film, The Great Wolf Games. I have no idea why the second and fourth ones are left out. Maybe because they're holiday films, or there's nothing too important for the characters to link back to. Regardless, you could argue that the flashbacks are like looking at old photos or videos from the past, and recalling those times from memory. But even then, the flashbacks aren't consistent. For instance, Humphrey recalls seeing a moose from the first film, but instead of hitting the moose on the antlers and just moving on, Humphrey just hits the moose's butt, falls over, and screams when the moose lifts its tail. That never happened in the movie. Why did they change it? It's also odd to see such a drastic change in animation from the flashbacks in the first film to the ones in the third film and to the ones in this film. But the flashbacks aren't the only issue. There are times when it felt unnecessary and are either embarrassing or uncomfortable. There's a scene where the animals come across the old lady from the first film, and when she sees them, she faints and the porcupines think she's dead, and eats some bark, while talking about the lady's death, but really she just fainted. That was pointless and a bit cruel. But the other big thing is when the animals are on the train and the bear has to go to the bathroom. And the way it's done is pretty embarrassing and awkward. Want to know why? Because the animals sing a song for the bear to get him to take a whiz or whatever he's doing. It's pretty bad in that regard. Although, there are a few good things about it, but they're kind of rare. The animation for the film, minus the flashbacks, is fine enough. It's kind of like a combination of the third and fourth film's animation in one, which makes it not too bad, but not too good either. Although it is quite a sign to see a shot from the first film trying to be the fifth film when really it's taken from the first film. Aside from the flashbacks, there are also references to the first and third film within this one that's kind of nice to see, like the old lady, the truck, the train, and the moose from the first film, and those animal friends from the third film. But the whole thing mostly borrows from the first film, and there was a point where Kate and Humphrey were going to howl in the train and I wanted to hear that, but it didn't happen. In addition, the voice acting is nice, but the flashbacks had to be redubbed by the current cast, and it doesn't have much of the same feel. At least when The Simpsons do their clip show episodes, they didn't redub the characters in the clips because it fits so well and it shows how it originally was. But here, it tries to work, but it doesn't come close. As a whole, this movie is all over the place. The characters are all fine, the story is kind of a mess, and the animation is alright. Director Richard Rich had done an okay job of making the 5th Alpha and Omega film as the last one he has made as producer and director. But even with that, the film is very mixed with flashbacks in the first and third film, references and sometimes rehashes of the first and third film, nice moments, awkward moments, embarrassing moments, and there doesn't seem to be much break in between. It's definitely jumbled when going back and forth between the animations of the 3, and even then being inconsistent in a few. Yet, from the previous films I've seen, this one's not too bad, nor is it too good. It's basically average, where everything in the third film is worse and everything in the first film is great. And despite there being 3 more of these films after Richard left, I'm just going to assume that the latter would be average or worse. So today, this movie will be getting a rating of 2.5 mixed stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and until next time for a new video.